Hello, beautiful humans. My name is Scott Lilly, artiste extraordinaire, and welcome to my Harlem studio, aka this corner of our apartment. I'm about to start a new series of paintings inspired by stories. Now, not high fantasy sci-fi action stories, but stories about real life, people, situationships, and I would like to invite you to come on this journey with me. I will be demonstrating some signature tips and techniques, and I will be using the barest amount of materials. 5 paints, 3 brushes, a painter's knife, some paper, and perhaps an occasional guest cameo appearance from some household products, so that if inspiration strikes, you can paint along from home. Or just sit back and enjoy some good old artistic ASMR. Also, I will be selling these originals and prints on my website at scottmlilly.com. That's SCOTTMLILLY.com. Let's get creative. So this first story I want to tell is not so much mine, but my husband's. Well, not so much his, but the woman that he saw at lunch one day. So picture it. Lunch, business hour. You walk into this fabulous restaurant surrounded by fabulous greenery, fabulous art. The food, fabulous. The drinks, fabulous. Everything is very exquisite. Everything is very expensive. And then you look over in the corner, and sitting in this fabulous booth, eating this fabulous lunch, drinking this fabulous cocktail, sitting in a fabulous Chanel suit, hair, fabulous, eyes, fabulous, all of the fabulicities, is this woman. And the only way she has ever been described to me is lonely businesswoman. Now, picture it, right? You've got this stunning, gorgeous woman, dripping in excellence, dripping in success, dripping in wealth, however you want to define that. And there's some energy, some little cloud of melancholy hanging around her, and just this image of this incredibly powerful, incredibly successful woman, human, sitting alone, surrounded by all this opulence, and just burdened by the isolation of it all, I guess. I don't know. There's this fabulous mix of things that I want to kind of explore and express in a perhaps not straightforward, but more of an abstract expressionist way. I don't know. Let's figure it out together. With all of these paintings, I am only going to use the barest essentials. So if you feel like following along at home, these are the things that I would recommend. So as far as paints go, I am only going to be working with acrylics. A, financially more responsible. B, dries very, very fast. At least as far as between acrylics and oils go. If you want a time budget, you want to work with acrylics. But acrylics I'm just using is I've got a good old quintessential quart of Artist's Love here. If you want to send me some promotional stuff, you go right ahead, baby. I got this from my local Blick art supply store. Shout out to Blick. You are awesome, keeping me in business, basically. Nice to know I'm doing the same for you. But I'm only going to be working with 5 colors today, all right? I've got black, white, and then I'm going to use my 3 primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. And amongst all of those things, we're going to create whatever tones, hues, colors, emotions we feel like expressing today. So I got my paints. You will also need a paint palette, or if nothing else, a paper plate will do just fine to put your little paints on and mix them up together. Now, canvas-wise, you can work with basically anything. Good old stretch canvas works for me, but for the sake of this series, and also to save space in my studio, I am working with some good old-fashioned brown wrapping paper. This is about 18 by 24. I want to get a nice big thing for us to look at. But if we want to keep it small and cute, we love that as well. If you have access to a giant 4 by 8 foot canvas, then you should give it to me. Or paint along, why not? Now, brushes wise, I'm only going to be working with 3. I'm going to diversify the portfolio so we got a lot to play with. But depending on the size of your canvas you're working with, you want a nice big fat wide brush. This here is about 2.5 inches. This is going to give me a lot of coverage, etc., etc. I want a nice kind of medium size, something a little smaller than that. This is about 1 inch. And then, just because I don't know where we're going, but detail is always fun, just a little tiny, cute, skinny baby brush, something with a little bit of a point on it, so we can get in and add any little, I don't know what we might need, but we got her. And of course, my favorite artistic tool, the palette knife, painter's knife. They come in plastic or metal. Looks much scarier than she is. Look at that light on it there. Oh. I use this in quite a lot of my paintings. In fact, a lot of them I've done, I've used almost solely painter's knife. So I want to give her a chance to play around with this today. You'll also need a rag for cleaning your brushes and clean up messes, etc. Paper towel will do just fine. And last, but certainly not least, we need a little cup, plastic cup, water cup, maybe not something you're gonna ever plan on drinking out of again. But I want something with a little bit of water at the bottom of it, just for cleaning up brushes, etc. And yeah, let's see what comes out. Now, painting, for me, trying to create a 3D experience on a 2D canvas, all about layers. So first thing I want to do is just kind of throw around a little bit of background color to sort of fill up my space and build it off from there. Now, I know when you think sad and lonely and boo-hoo-hoo, your thoughts may intentionally go towards something like blue or black or things like that. But just to deviate from that a little bit, this lonely businesswoman exists in a space of richness, fineness, elegance. I'm picturing soft amber candlelight and rich velvets and leathers. So rather than my blues and blacks, I'm actually going to throw just sort of a general wash, probably with my biggest brush, with some reds and yellows, and see what happens. Let's go. Literally anywhere. Now I'm going to get that brush just a little bit wet to start. Not like drip, drip, drippy, but just a little damp to kind of soften the brushes and help this kind of spread around. And I think for this, as far as colors go, I don't know, let's start with the yellow. I'm going to go literally, I don't know, anywhere, everywhere. Throw on some music and see what happens. I want to think of this sort of heaviness, this sadness that comes with being alone, ordering a $20 salad. So I'm going to focus a lot on up and down motions, weighted motions, sort of pulling down a little bit. And as I'm throwing this kind of yellow and red experience around, I'm going to start trying to figure out where I want my light source to be. I think kind of up here in this top left is where my light coming down. So maybe I'll have a bit more yellow up there. And perhaps I'll have my darker reds down here in these shadowy corners. Red velvets, demure leathers, soft leathers. Rich stuff. Now, I don't want this paint to bubble up too much since I'm working on paper, so just to play it on the safe side, I'm going to add a little more tape around the edges. This might not be an issue for you. Voila! Now, just for fun, I'm going to try throwing some of these colors together. I haven't even washed my brush yet. So now I'm going to start layering up. Going over one color with another, the other with another, building up these kind of, building up the illusion of depth by building depth. Now I'm intentionally letting some of this blend in, kind of doing this red and yellow mixture, creating this kind of interesting orange. And some places I'm literally just kind of letting that paint sit on top of each other. I don't want to mix this in. I want kind of the real dynamics between my red and my yellow vying for control, creating this kinetic energy. Now I'm just taking that yellow and I'm throwing some of it around where I think some light sources might be, like a overhead light or candle on the table next door, somewhere off the page. Anyway. I'm still focusing on a lot of downward pulls, a lot of downward motion. I want to feel as the artist this sort of weight, this sort of rainfall of everything pushing down. Okay, I say about do this until you think, oh no, Scott, I did too much. Then probably do a little bit more and then you're good. So far I haven't even given this big girl a bath yet. Maybe she deserves one. Okay, so now that we got our yellow and red business giving whatever they decided they want to give, this next step, y'all, now I'm going to go into the black paint. It's time to build some shadows. And for this, I'm going to switch over to my favorite tool, my painter's knife, my palette knife. Again, they come in different sizes, different points. I like them to get a good, nice, maybe inch and a half edge to that. And then coming back to our canvas, I'm going to get a little bit of black paint right on the edge of her. And still continuing with this kind of up and down spiral motion. We've been doing a lot of up to down for all of this light, so I think perhaps to build in these shadows, I want to go from down to up. And if my light source is I've decided to be this top left corner, up here, then I think my heaviest shadows will probably be in the down right. And for this, with that painter's knife, I'm going to hold it very loosely and barely even touching the canvas. Gentle touches, tender touches, first date touches, or I don't know your first date, but very lightly, I'm just going to pull that paint up, allowing it moments to sort of skip spaces and create these weird, interesting, almost spots, little moments where the paints go and lift. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I want to do that a little bit, maybe just kind of coming in from all of these sort of edges there, really to create a sense of darkness creeping in. But I'm going to keep mostly to this bottom right, just to counterbalance all of my light happening up top left. Now you don't need a lot of pressure for this. Too much pressure on that knife will kind of scrape some of the paint that you might already have not quite dry yet off. But just a very light kind of, again, just sort of skimming the surface of that. Letting your hand kind of move a little bit like you've had, we'll say, maybe 2 extra cups of coffee than you were supposed to have, which for me is like normal resting rate. But if your hand has a little bit of a shake to it, that makes this step all the better. This technique will also create some really cool effects just by naturally picking up some of the rough surface, the texture of your canvas or paper or wood or whatever material you are painting on today. Nature's got a lot of sort of weird, people say imperfections, but I don't like that word. Personality textures. I like that better. Play around with that. Also, you can do very interesting things where you can pull that nice fat wide side of that paint palette up to get some nice wide sort of Dalmatian spot business going on. Or you can just use that nice sharp edge of it and create some interesting lines. Nice sharp pointed lines, getting whatever your lines want to give. I always like to say play around, try a little bit of both, see what you prefer. Oh yeah, that's fun. Now, just for funzos, let's see if we mix some of that red and black together with that palette knife and see what happens. Mixing's pretty fun. It's another just kind of scrape and smear. Kind of like you're smearing butter on toast, jam, preserves if you fancy. But I'm just kind of smearing those 2 paints together, using a little bit of the edge of my paper plate or palette to kind of scrape off that paint, wiggle it back onto that tip. Ooh, that's a very interesting color. So let's see if we throw a little bit of her on there. I'm gonna say maybe in this, I don't know, maybe just coming down right here. Ooh, she's very dark. I don't know how different that looks from on camera, but the tonality is very interesting and different. Now, like with everything I choose to participate in my life, this should be fun. So again, no wrong way to do any of this. So I hope you're playing around, trying new things. More importantly, I hope your playlist is killer. Sweet. Let's give this girl a bath, get her clean and cute. Okay. And the next is the really exciting step where we sit for about 2 minutes and literally watch this paint dry. But I've got to get to the gym and then pick my hubby up to go see a friend's show tonight. So I may or may not get back to this today. But if not, I will see you for part 2. For you, probably in about 2 seconds. For me, in maybe 24 hours. In either case, stay beautiful. Mwah! I'm back, beautiful humans. Time for part 2. So now that I've got all of this beautiful, rich, Sadoti, wonderful background business giving whatever she's giving. This is what mine's giving. Yours is giving whatever she's giving. But once I got her done, giving her a second to dry, I'm gonna go back to that big brush that I was playing with at the very beginning. I've given her a bath, I've got her clean, I've got her cute, but now I want to kind of start shaping out the general area of where my lonely businesswoman is going to be. So now I think it's time. We've done our reds, we've done our golds, we've done our yellows. Let's do it. Let's go into the blue. So actually with that big girl brush, I'm going to mix a little bit of that nice royal blue with just a tiny bit of black. Don't need a whole lot. But just a little bit of black into that blue to turn her into sort of a nice, sort of darker, melancholy navy. And with that on that big girl brush, that sort of blue and black business on that big girl brush, I'm going to come in the middle of my beautiful background business and just sort of shape out the general area of where my lonely businesswoman is going to be. This is, I don't know, perhaps this is kind of the sensation of the cloud of angst, of ennui that she's surrounded by. So I'm not going for any real solid shapes. I'm mostly just kind of shaping out the general area of it. But the way I want to do that is with that big girl brush, coming up to wherever I want it to be. I'm going to use that brush to make really nice kind of soft little X's, crisscross overlapping X's, back and forth, X, 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 X. If you're like me, you got a lot of them, so put them to good use. But I'm going to use that brush with that blue, X, 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 just kind of generally shaping out the sort of, let's say sort of shadow area of where my lonely businesswoman is sitting. I'm going to overlap a lot of this really awesome color that we laid down earlier. I'm not covering up completely. I'm putting a nice light layer of it on there because I intentionally want some of this really rich color, all these really interesting shapes and textures we've made to pop through. And you know what? Maybe I'll have it kind of going up off into the corner, like she's thinking, and her sadness is being carried off into the sky, immersing with this beautiful, rich climate around her. And I'm not mixing this color up very well on purpose. I'm just kind of almost double dipping my brush and then going to town on the canvas. I want moments that are intentionally a little more dark, a little more black, a little more blue in other parts. Honestly, at this step, for my paint and sip people, this is the point where if it looks a little crazy, it's probably right. And if it's looking a little too crazy, that's okay. Have another glass of champagne or coffee, and it'll look fine. Cute! That's interesting and fun. And just to be weird, I don't know, I'm going to use some of that nice dark blue on my big girl brush, not even cleaning her off. I'm just going to dip a little bit of tip of that into yellow. Some of that yellow that we had earlier from the very beginning. And I don't know, maybe I'm just going to kind of pull that around a few places, go back to that kind of up and down shape, and see what that does. Nice. That looks cool. Alright, big girl back in the cup. I think it's time. Ooh. Is it time? Let's start shaping out our lonely businesswoman. Now, I'm going to use the white paint to shape her out. And I'm going to use that little skinny baby girl brush that we haven't really played with yet. Now, before I do this, I'm just going to say, though portrait artistry is in my wheelhouse, and I have done it before. For this piece, I'm intentionally going for something a bit more abstract, less an actual portrait of a person, because I do not know this particular human person, and out of respect for that, I'm not even going to try to create a new person. I'm not AI, but I want to create sort of the suggestion of a person, someone who has all of the things: nose, ears, mouth, eyes, but I want to kind of leave it in almost sort of a space where the viewer of this piece can look at it and see whomever, themselves, their mother, their friend from work, less going for a perfect photograph of a specific person and more of the story of a person, period. So this is going to be kind of fun to shape out, but let's give it a go. Figuring this out in real time, so this should be fun. But I'm going to get a little bit of white paint right on the tip of that baby girl brush, and I'm going to come up into all this nice kind of dark blue, black, shadowy business that we shaped out. And right about center, I'm going to start with actually kind of the lovely bridge of her nose. I love noses. Can you tell? So I'm just going to draw out a nice, skinny, straight line. Well, straight. Shouldn't have to be perfectly straight. This is a nose. It could be any weird shape. But I'm just going to do a little bit of a straight line that comes down a little bit, and like a capital L, crosses over the other direction. Alright? And then she's going to come back down a little further, giving lightning bolt situations. Before she crosses over once again. And then I'm going to take her straight down. We'll say all the way to the bottom. Why not? You know what? Maybe I'll even let it skip spaces as it's kind of going over these sort of wrinkles and rough edges. Maybe it does kind of disappear down there. It gets a little bit more, less solid. I kind of like that idea. That's interesting. And then I'm going to come back over here to where I started, this first little L shape. And maybe I'll go over to the left of that. I don't know. Just kind of shaping out. So, kind of half circle. Like an upside down U. Little frowny face line. That feels appropriate. Little frowny face line. And then coming off of that, I'm going to draw like a capital C. Oh, but she's backwards. Yeah, she's going that other way. It's trying to get a little bit of a head in there, y'all, maybe. Basquiat adjacent. I'm going to leave that for a minute. I'm going to keep with that little baby brush, same white paint. And I'm going to come down here below that. Maybe about an inch or two down from this little kind of zigzag moment. And I'm going to cut right across it here. With another line, yeah, I'm going to let it kind of skip some spaces too. Just very lightly dragging my brush. Crisscross, shape out a little T. This is a businesswoman, so I want to give her shoulder pads, you know, the don't mess with me shoulder pads. And then I don't know, there's always something about the heart of a person. What's going on in there. So maybe I'll just put a little circle or something right there in her chest. Maybe it'll become something. Maybe it'll stay empty. I don't know. To be determined. Oh, let's see. How is she doing? I want to have a line. Maybe she's going to kind of come down next to that circle on the right side. And then crisscross down this way. At a bit of a diagonal. That's kind of interesting. Well, yeah, that's kind of fun. And you know what? This kind of big old frowny face line, this nice kind of half circle that we did at the top, I'm actually going to come over here to the left. And I'm going to continue that line down. Maybe I'll do just like I did with this line coming down here. Maybe it just kind of keeps going. Maybe I'll skip space. Maybe I'll let it intersect with some of these other lines a little bit. Yeah. And maybe I'll give her a little friend next to her. Just so she's not lonely. Our businesswoman is lonely, but I don't want our lines to be. Now, this is all about sort of allusions to things rather than creating things for real. Playing with the mind's eye a little bit. So, I mentioned a suit. Chanel, perhaps? I don't know, something fancy. Balenciaga. But nice, rich kind of fabrics. This woman is wrapped around in this very lovely, rich cocoon of expensive designer business. So rather than shaping out all of these kind of fabric things, I'm just gonna kind of use the idea of these kind of flowing lines, sort of wrapping around the general shapes that we've made. We got this nice kind of long line we did back and forth for her shoulder pads. So maybe over here on the right, maybe she's got some lines that just kind of curve and wrap around. She's got a few others on the other side, just kind of nice curved lines. Going out, going down, coming back around. Maybe she's got a few coming down on this arm too. Just very loosely throwing some of these little things around. Honestly, the best advice that I can give to you as an artist is the less you think about it, the better. Art comes from a very different part of your brain than the very daily minutia of analytical business does. So a lot of this is just an exercise in trust and letting go and saying, you know what, I have an idea of kind of what I want to do. The canvas has an idea of what she kind of wants to do. The brushes, the paints, everything. This is a collaborative experience. So screw it, be collaborative with it. If yours does not come out looking like mine, then I will consider this a success. That is the point of this series, is to show you how I like to create things in real time. A little on the faster speed, just because these cannot be 6-hour videos. But just to give you a little bit of idea of how I like to do things, and hopefully a touch of inspiration for you to go off and play your own way. Anyway, back to Miss Girl. So she's got a very guarded heart. So this nice kind of little circle that we got around here, I'm gonna maybe add 1 or 2 more circles, encapsulating that, keeping her moods, keeping her energies, keeping her thoughts literally very tight to the chest. Now coming back to her head here, I'm going to kind of go over here to this backward C that I started a little bit. And I don't know what kind of hair she may have, but I imagine she's got some kind of really nice earrings. So rather than lines, maybe I'll just do sort of a succession of dots, little circles. Maybe have some smaller girls, maybe have some big girls. Maybe skip a space and things in between. This is giving very, I don't quite know what, but I'm liking this. It's very destructured. But I don't know, let's do some cool things with her face. So this very first L shape, this nice little white L that I started with, I'm gonna go back up to the top of that. You know what, we got Miss U that kind of curves over here and it dips down. We got this other little baby white line over there. So what if I just connected this white line to the top of her head like that? Ooh, that's kind of fun and interesting. No. And then maybe over here by her other ear, maybe just in from that, she's got another line. Coming down. I'll do another kind of skip a little bit, let her be big, let her be small, dripping all the way down there. Yes. You know what, maybe she'll even come up past the head a little bit. Why not? And maybe I'll give her another girl going up that way. Thinking about stuff. Very interesting shapes. I like this. Oh, and I don't know, back to the suit, maybe over here on the shoulder, maybe just to give you another idea, we got some fabric flows, fabric moves. So again, very intentionally not going for realism for this one, letting play around, going back to that inner sort of 3-4-year-old that says, you know what, okay, yeah, fabrics has waves on it, so it's just going to be wavy fabric. Maybe I'll put one over there too. Yeah, why not? Okay, here's the fun stuff. The face. So I do not know this woman. I don't know her experience. All I know is that she has been described as lonely businesswoman. But I'm assuming that if she has made it this far in life, this is also a strong, capable, confident, in some respects, woman. So she's not just going to be big old sad in the face. I imagine she's kind of sitting there reflecting. So I don't know. Let's eyes and mouth are very important storytellers in the face. So let's throw at least one of them in there. So let's give her an eye. Several different ways you can do eyes. A simple, basic way is if you want to think about drawing two little curved lines. Another little frowny face. Connected with a little happy face, top to top, giving you a little football or Jesus fish suntail. But a little kind of football shape for the eye there. And then maybe, I don't know, maybe right in the middle of that, I'll just cut a little line right across. Her thoughts are cut in half. And below that line, I'll shape out just another little baby half circle right below that. And if I got the room, screw it, now I'll just put a little dot right in the middle of that. Yeah. Football, line, half circle, dot. And then I'll go back to this kind of little left corner of that there. And I'll draw another little line that comes out a little bit. And then curves back around. And just sort of disappears over there. Now her mouth, I'm actually going to this little baby L that we did at the very beginning, and then we had another little L coming down out of there. I'm going to come right smack dab in the middle of this sort of bottom vertical line, and cutting right across it like we did with the shoulders. I'm just going to draw another little line, going straight across like a T, right? And then we'll just do some old school kind of cartoony lips. I'll go the same kind of idea I did with that eye. I'll go from point to point, dropping down below, a little kind of half circle that just goes down and lips back up. And the top lip is the same idea. We're just going to take a little bit of a pit stop midway through. Refill the tank and water the kids, I guess. So the corner will just kind of lift up a little bit, and then dip down to touch that little intersection where all those lines meet. Lift back up, and dip back down again for the bottom. Ooh, she's giving face. Hold on. Is that her? That feels like her. Oh my gosh, that's more or less a person. Well, it's the abstract illusional concept of a person. So now let's fun. I don't know, let's fill her up with color. So just kind of tracing down along these lines. Maybe overlapping, maybe not. Maybe I'll go back in with some of these colors that I've played with before and throw a few extra colors in there. I don't know, she's got blonde hair maybe, so I'll throw a few streaks of yellow. Tracing down along some of these lines, yes. Maybe she's in a, I don't know, what suit is she in? Blue? No. Red. Ooh, what's she gonna be in that red suit? Now for these steps, you can either give that little baby brush a bath in between these colors, or I intentionally, because I'm messy, I'm just kind of double, triple, consensually dipping into these paints. And sort of name of the game that we've been doing since step one is I'm letting the paint kind of give me what she wants to give today. So there can be moments where these colors automatically overlap, where they start to blend in a little bit, especially if I start mixing back and forth between like red and yellow. See some moments that are a little more right next to each other. You can also say screw it and just mix a few a little bit right on your paper plate to get a nice bright fiery orange color. And go in and say, you know what, I want to put some orange there right around her heart. Because despite all the heartbreak, she's still got a fire in there somewhere. And I know it's cliche, but maybe I'll go back in with a little bit of that blue and just trace out a few of some of those white outline lines with a little bit of that blue as well. Now, I don't know your business lady's business, but to me, she's going to have a little bit of a blue eye. I know it's a cliche, but tears and such. So I'll just go into this little bitty half circle that I did. Just put a little bit of blue. Just a little bit right in there. And not required, but if you're feeling it, if you want to mix a little bit of red, if she's got a red lip, or a little bit of red and white together to get pink, then I'm not going to go over these lines so much, but I'll maybe use these little spaces in between. And I'll fill that in. Do I want to do all of them, or do I just want to do... I'll do them all. But I'll leave that little white line separating it. Yes, yes, yes! I'm really liking her. And you know what, just for funsies, maybe I'll throw a little bit of black lines out in there too. Artist tip, a little thin black line right next to a white line will really make that line pop out from whatever you're playing with, whatever colors you got in the background. Give it that extra sense of almost sort of 3D. Again, layers. And just to kind of keep the attention on her face, I'm going to put most of these little black lines. I'll focus more on the face and maybe do a little less as I kind of branch out down towards her body. But I think I will have some of these black lines going up out of her head, up towards the top of my canvas. Maybe even I'll have some coming down. Again, to give it that sense of almost rain. I would sing a song, but I don't think I have the rights to that. You know what? Maybe I'll even throw a little bit of curved black lines, almost like a dark halo, because that feels appropriate. And you know what? I'm gonna stick with that black paint, but I'm gonna switch over to brushes. Maybe a little bit more of that kind of medium-sized brush. I don't know, if you've got something that's maybe about 1 inch wide, or even half an inch might be fun. I don't know, I'm going to go back into that black. And let's see, I'm assuming she's sitting at a table, so I'm just going to put a really nice curved line. Again, not even thinking about it too much, just a little kind of sweeping line. So maybe it'll come out a little bit, disappear, come up, disappear. Yeah. I'm gonna do a few more little extra kind of streaks of that. You know what? Maybe I'll even trace a little bit of a thicker line off over here on the right, on the right side. Because again, we said our light source is coming from the top left. So any little extraneous streaks of black, I'll put another kind of thick line of that halo coming out. Maybe a little bit off her shoulder too. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Oh yeah, and maybe a couple another big thick lines coming down from the top, just like we had at the very beginning. I'll maybe even have some coming up from that nice curved line of the table. Ooh, that's kind of fun. Look, as I'm throwing this color around, it's picking up some of these other colors and moving it to different parts of the canvas. I like that. Maybe you don't, but I really enjoy the, we'll say, conversation of all the materials on my canvas working together at one time. Now, this might be a really smart or really stupid idea, but I'm about to find out in real time. I'm going to use that big girl brush. Well, not the big girl brush, but this brush that I'm just using with all this bright, streaky business. I'll give her a bath. I'll get her clean-ish, get her cute-ish, a few twirls in that water. And then I'll go, I don't know, I shaped out the eyes in the white. I shaped out all these lines in the white. So it might be a little silly, but I'm going to get a little bit of that white just on one side of this brush. And I'll come right here to this bottom edge of her eye. And I'll just stick that brush and pull it straight down. I'm gonna go wherever she wants to go. Yes. Yes. Ooh, that's fun. Ooh, I love that. But she needs something to counterbalance it. So maybe over here, I'll do the same thing on her mouth. Something that kind of pulls down a little bit. Yes. And maybe another right here in her heart. Yes. 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 She's so cool. Get a look at this lady. Oh, she's so fun. You're great. All right, she is so close. She's so close. But let's throw a few extraneous things in here. I'll use that little skinny baby girl brush. I'll go back to that white paint or whatever color we've decided to shape out our girl at. And I don't know, but if it's a businesswoman having a lonely lunch time on a weekday, if she were me, she's gonna have a glass of wine. So I'll come down here to this bottom left section, right underneath this kind of curved line that we did to distinguish up our table. And I'll just do a very rudimentary, basic outline of a wine glass. She feels like a Chardonnay lady to me. I'll go to wherever the top of my glass is. I'll just shape out a little kind of oval shape. Again, I'm kind of playing fast and loose with these lines because I want this kind of almost very graffitied. She is giving a little Basquiat at the moment, isn't she? I really like that. Maybe because I was painting at the Basquiat studio yesterday up in Harlem. Side note, if you do live in New York and you are looking for a fun paint and sip experience, oh, they don't pay me enough money for that. I'm not going to give you stuff. Call me. Let me make you an art class. I'll shape out my little rudimentary sort of oval, my little kind of flat Easter egg thing. And coming out of the either widest ends of it, those little farthest points, well, it's an oval, it doesn't really have points. But if she had points, they would be on the farthest end. And I'll draw a line that kind of curves down and in on either side. The little lines coming down off the bottom of that. One more little oval right there on the bottom. Wine. And you know what? Maybe over here on the left, screw it. She's having a day. She got the bottle. So I'll just do a long line coming down. She swoops out a little bit because you got to give her those hips. Curves down and she goes right off the page. Give her another little girl going there. She kind of down. She goes off the page a little bit too. I'll just cap her like that. Oh, hey, have fun. Okay, my girl is coming together. We just need a few last little things, I think, to really finish her off. So I'm gonna go back to my good old palette knife girl, right? I've given her a bath. She's clean-ish. She's cute-ish. Oh, I love the way the light works on this. And I'm going to go back into that yellow, that lovely yellow if I got any left. And those little kind of moments that we had, those light sources that we did at the very beginning, I'm just going to kind of go back to those points and almost kind of bring those out a little bit more. That same kind of dragging, and again, going back to that kind of up and down, heavy drag moment. Here and there, we got some reflecting off of this wine bottle too, so maybe it just kind of creeps right down the side there like that. We got another in this wine glass. Just got the candle at the table. Maybe another one right in front of her. And then maybe just a little bit more. Maybe just kind of, we got a little bit of a glare coming down right out of this bottom corner. So I'm going to use that long edge. Just kind of drag a little bit. Yeah. And then just a little bit right down here. Yes. 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 Now, I think I don't know this woman. And I don't know this woman that you are painting. I don't know if this is the same lonely businesswoman. I don't know if this is someone else. I can't say what is in her heart. Now, you as the artist for your piece, you can decide exactly what she's feeling, exactly what she's thinking, and you can put damn near anything in here. I don't know her. And so the only thing that I can think to do, not in a sad way, but in a mysterious way, I'm going to use this black paint. And the only real solid thing, the only real thing of any substance that I'm really going to make a point to really cover nice and thick is going to be this black hole right inside of her heart. Maybe it's empty. Maybe it's a negative space. Maybe it is so full of color and pigments of human emotion that it's all come together and has created black. I don't know. I don't know this woman. All I know is that she is freaking beautiful. And I think that's where we're going to leave it. The only thing that we have to do to finish any painting, it has to be the very last step. This is how you know you're done. You got to sign that sucker. Now, a lot of artists will wait until the painting is dry. They'll do it on the back. They'll write their name. They'll date it. Blah, 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 blah. I do that as well. However, I was raised on the ministry of Bob Ross, and there's nothing more satisfying than after you've completed a piece to come to any one of these corners, or honestly, you as the artist, anywhere you want. I have an artist friend who one of their signatures is they put their signature in a different place, kind of hidden within the painting of every new painting they do. That is fun. I'm a bit more of a traditionalist, and I like to put mine down here in the bottom right if I can. I don't know, there's so much color, but there's just a tiny little spot of red right here that I am going to sneak in my initials, S, L, and that, my friends, is a completed painting. Miss Lonely Businesswoman, I love you. Thank you for your story today. And thank you for coming on this journey with me. If you have a specific story that you would like to serve as inspiration for my next please reach out. Otherwise, stay tuned. We're going to create something magical next time. And if you are interested in this original lady, I will have her and prints made accessible on my website. And stay fabulous. Stay creative, and I'll see you soon.